Good morning, North America. Welcome to Church Talk TV. Lively talk about life, church, and church life. I'm your co-host, Dr. Bill Tenney-Britton, and I'm joined, as usual, by my co-host, Dr. Chris Tenney-Britton, and we're broadcasting from our studio in Columbia, Missouri, the heartland of America. Say good morning, Chris.
Well, good morning, and welcome to Church Talk TV.
Chris and Bill Tenney-Britton here today, and today we're talking about how to use social media to communicate, and that includes the marketing piece, but also just general communications to your people.
Yeah, well, the power of social media, we would be remiss if we didn't say power. It's powerful. There are 4.48, well, could we call it 4.5 million?
No.
No?
You didn't read that right. Billion. 4.8 billion social media users.
57% of the global population
are using social media on a regular basis.
And there are over 16 new users on social media every second. 81% of Americans, yeah.
That's right, Americans.
Use YouTube. 69% use Facebook. 71% under 29 years old use Instagram, and 65% of those under 29 use Snapchat.
Which is to say, social media is a thing.
It really is.
I know there's been a lot of pushback from a lot of folks. Well, you don't want to get involved, and you want to stay off Facebook.
Yes.
And I get there's a lot of negativity and all that. But if we're not using social media and using it well, then we are totally missing out, because here we have a global audience that we have the potential to reach for the kingdom of God. So we need to talk about social media as a thing in the church.
You know, I really love that. You said that we have the opportunity to meet a global, right? To reach the world. We know a pastor who is the pastor of a rural church, very small rural church. You have to drive a long ways to get to it. And when...
middle of nowhere.
Yeah, nowhere. It's a scary place to drive to. Anyways, for me at least. That when the pandemic hit, they went to he went to taping his message and some music and having worship services there online. He was reaching hundreds and hundreds of people all around the world. It was absolutely amazing.
A whole bunch of people in Africa, and not the spammy kind of people.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if you know, but Nigeria has an incredibly strong Christian population, and they're hungry for good material, and a lot of them speak English. So they were reaching a good population, not just in Nigeria, but all around. And
Well, and that's a whole other episode, and we've done episodes, or at least one episode, on doing worship, how to have services, how to have an online campus, right? Because that definitely is a piece of that conversation. We just want you to know about the reach of social media and what you have the opportunity to do, the effect you can have.
Once upon a time, we had to send missionaries on an airplane to foreign countries.
Wow, that's awesome.
Now, we can be faithful to the Great Commission. From our laptop, our desktop, or our mobile phone, we can be faithful, and we can take the reach all nations with, hello, I am, and going from there. So
there you go.
Let's talk about how to leverage it. How to leverage social media, because it is a thing and it's important. So first, I want to say that there's three kinds of, and there will eventually be more, I'm sure, but there's three major kinds of posts. There's videos, there's images, and there's texts. And the video, especially video shorts, things that between 2 and 3 minutes that are about, they get the most views by far, that people are scrolling through, and they stop at videos that are somehow entertaining. That doesn't mean, funny, like, jumping off a trampoline and hitting your ground. We're not talking about that, but we are talking about videos that are eye attractive, eye catching, and of course, have something to say. So video shorts is one of the best ways of getting views.
Well, let's see what a video short is, right? A video short is about 2 minutes, maybe 3. If you're using on a business, what Facebook would say, hey, you want to make sure that you're about 2 or 3 minutes, because that's what really catches and holds on to people. But if you haven't caught someone's attention in the first 10 seconds, they're not going to stay with you. Yeah, they're going to to keep going.
Keep on scrolling.
Right. Or they're not going to hit the little unmute button, which is one of my deals. There's so many times I've sat there and look at videos and say, I wonder what they're saying. Oh, haha, I guess I have to unmute it. So,
and one of the things that when that happens to me, unless if it's just a talking head, I don't care what they're saying. I scroll. So, and we're going to say this later, captions.
Yeah, thank you.
If you're doing videos, have captions so that people don't have to unmute to get your message.
Yes, thank you. And that also helps to capture their attention.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Images are the next most
viewed.
Yeah,
posts,
popular,
right.
if you will. What did I say?
No, you just didn't finish
okay.
it. You said
all right.
viewed.
Images
I don't want to say posts.
So images get the next most views.
Right.
So I was thinking heartwarming. Hallmark catches a lot of attention, or I won't say anything more around
I
there.
had a social media expert. I was overhearing a conversation, and she had come across this image of, it was a very cute dog, and it was sitting as if it was a secretary behind a desk, had a pencil behind its ear and glasses on and a funny hat, and this social media person said best image she'd ever seen. She wanted to know where she could get it, who she could buy it from. She said, because that catches attention. It is, weird, out of context, funny, cute, all the same, all in one package. So it doesn't have to be warm. You want an image.
Yes,
you want an image that catches your attention and is communicating what you need to communicate. Remember, that's the whole point of the image or the videos or a text, is to get their attention so that they get your message.
So is it any surprise then that text, just straight text, are hit and miss? You may get someone to read it, you may not get someone to read it, but probably if that person is not a family or a close friend, they're likely not to read.
Just keep scrolling by. Which brings me to this point, is that all that work you do creating a perfect post, when you post it, only a very small percentage of your friends and people who are following you actually see your post. Whether it's Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or wherever, the majority of people will not see it because the logarithm says, hey, listen, if we showed everybody everything, your feed would this, you'd never be able to read anything. So they're very fussy. So if you want to get that post read by certain people, make sure you tag them or you direct message them. That's the only way you can guarantee that Bob and Susan and Becky and whatever, or your board or your congregation is going to see it. You tag them or direct message them. That's the only way to make sure they're going to see it. But you can increase the number of people who see your posts by engagement. If you get people, you do a post that people like, and they like it, they share it, they comment on it, they tag other people, that logarithm for the social media goes up, and it starts showing on more and more people's news feeds. And if you're consistent with that, if that happens regularly, your posts will be seen initially by more people right off the bat.
Okay, good. So what we're talking about is leveraging, what is this also called, SEO?
Not really.
Really?
No.
You're not?
No,
because that's more your website.
That's search engine. Yeah.
Yeah, search engines. Okay, so
not
Facebook
the tech
engines.
Geek here.
Facebook engines.
Logarithms.
Oh, right. Logarithms is what you toss that word out, but not all of us obviously understand all of that techie type of language. But so what we're trying to do though is help you understand how to get your posts up there
and out to as many people as possible.
Our daughter will post, but I don't not necessarily see her post.
That's right.
Because of the logarithm. So I have a system where I'm able to find her and check up what's happening
right,
there.
because it'll appear on your news feed regardless.
Right.
But whether it shows up, even as you say, on your daughter's news feed, or in this case, on her mom's news feed.
Yes. What did else? I wanted to say something else with that. Engagement improves our percentages, and you might. Engagement. That's where I really want to come home. I have so many ministers who say to me, "Oh my gosh, we had 1,000 views on our worship service." But you know what? None of that matters. It means unless there's an engagement. And as William just said, that's about sharing the post or someone writes something on the post. The real question is, did they engage with you? So I see a whole lot of, views. I'll view a whole lot of posts, but I don't engage with that many.
Right. Well, and I'm giggling in my head and kind of smiling here like the catbird. Is that thousands of people saw our worship service. And,
oh yeah.
And
go ahead.
The new yearbook for the church is coming out, and the numbers from COVID of people who are saying how many people saw their worship service. I just want to lay down, put my feet up in the air and laugh, because it's like, wow, you had an average of 1,000 people a week coming in. How's that working for you? Because they looked at that number, and that number doesn't mean what you think it means. It means that someone stopped scrolling and your video loaded, and then they kept going. That's the vast majority of people. So anyway, so don't get too excited about lots of people. You want to gauge it, because if you have 1,000 this week and 10,000 next week and 14,000 next week, you're on the right track. But don't count them as people who are, watching your services or even viewing your posts.
Yeah, and that also says to you that you really want to work on getting them engaged,
That's right?
I mean, because isn't that why you're posting, whether it's a worship service or it's, about an event, or it's about helping someone here learn something about the gospel or your congregation.
Or something inspiring or motivating,
right? You want them to engage with you. And here's another piece. When someone engages with you, be sure to respond.
That's right.
Like their engagement. If you're just kind of getting started into this, make a thank you, or oh yeah, I didn't notice that. So make sure that you respond, and you can still remove comments, right?
Yep.
So if you get negative engagements, and sometimes people will say, well, I don't want to do that because there have been negative engagements, or there are these negative comments. Well, hello, you're keeping up with it, that you see the negative comments. Just go over to those 3 little dots, boom, and it will tell you can delete.
But I'll point out that sometimes those negative engagements aren't hurtful, because just because someone doesn't like something that you said doesn't mean they didn't engage. It doesn't mean the engagement counts. Now, if it's derogatory, ugly, get it off. But, if it's a negative because they disagreed, and that you have an atheist who calls your stuff into question, engage, because people are going to stop and look at that. So, there is such a thing as bad press. On the other hand, again, you have to remember who you are and remember whose you are. You have to respond in a positive way or an appropriate way, but and don't get into political.
Thank you.
Yeah, stay away from the politics regardless.
And okay, so I don't want to offend you, but don't get into a pissing match. I mean, that's what I watch, right?
Yeah.
Is this goes back and forth, and or we obsess on that.
Right.
So much better to delete. Okay, and it depends on what it's about and what your purpose is, right? If you're posting as a congregation or for a congregation, it's not the place to be doing, I don't know.
Some of the best posts and the ones that have got hundreds and thousands of views have been where a comment was made or a post was made and someone disagreed, and there was a good conversation that went back and forth, and often it pulls other people in.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
And eventually, this post I have posts that have been seen by thousands of people because we engaged. So I agree and I disagree. You've got to wait.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the kinds of posts that get play. The kind of posts that people will stop and look. So if you have a funny bone in you that is tasteful, a tasteful funny bone,
and funny.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Humor gets a lot of play. By the way, sarcasm is not the highest form of humor. In fact, sarcasm, unless it is couched just exactly right, can be more offensive than helpful.
Oh my goodness,
so,
yes.
But humor gets play. Puns, and I mean, one of the things that I have just put out is one that says, did you know that Effective Church is an anagram of 1954 is never coming back? No, really it is. Don't check me. And it's like, it's a clever, like everyone goes, what? Of course it's not. But it cracks a smile. I go, oh yeah, okay, we see what he's doing. And it gets it gets someplace. So use some humor if you can in your posts, in your videos, etc.
So, and we've already mentioned this one, short videos.
With
short
captions.
Videos. Excuse me, I'm going there. Thank you. With captions, as I said, we've already mentioned that. And again, on some accounts, you are not able really to post without, a title or saying something about your video. So, on Facebook, I'll say that. So, short videos, about 2 minutes or so, make sure you get those captions. That will get you viewed. And we mentioned images, right? So you want images that are going to catch the eye.
And then include your text around your images that advertise whatever you're trying to get advertised.
Right.
That would be true on all three of these. You have a funny post.
Yes, exactly.
Make sure you leverage that post for, hey, stop by and see, or we got this ice cream social or whatever. Okay.
Right. It is about leveraging. You're right. You've caught someone's attention. Leverage.
That's
if
right.
you want to catch their attention, why do you want to catch their attention? What is it? Remember, we've talked again in other episodes. If you all know us, you heard us talk about this. Handoff, handoff, handoff. What's the handoff? Don't waste your time on something that not many people, initially at least, are going to see without direct messaging it, sending it to friends, and without having the handoff. Make it count.
Right. Okay. Next piece. We need to move on real quick. You need to remember this, that social media posts are time limited.
Yes.
Once it shows up on someone's news feed, 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later, your post has moved down because others have been replaced it. Now, a lot of people do the scrolling thing, but you can't count on that. A lot of people get up, they check the top 3 or 4 or 5, 10 posts, whatever, and move on. And your post may have moved down. So you may need to repost it every so often if you got an event coming up or something. Just know that they are time limited. So it's not the time to put a post that says, hey, it's snowing and we're closing church today, and hoping that everyone's going to see it on your news feed, because A, it's not going to show up on everyone's news feed to begin with, and number 2 is when they get to it, it'll scroll down, they won't have seen it. So remember that they're limited. They have an expiration date, and it's not as long as you think it is.
Yes. Okay. So talk to us a little bit about logarithms. Okay.
Well, I'm not going to define a logarithm beyond saying the logarithm determines which posts get placed on which feeds, and that's the logarithm is a way of saying it's the rules of the game. But there is a way to game your logarithm. There's a way of getting your post seen by more people, and this is we've discovered this is if you put a post up, and if you can get 50, 100 people to like, share, comment, tag in a brief period of time, like within a half hour, if you get a bunch of people doing that, the logarithm says, wow, look at that's a popular post, let's share it out more.
Oh, cool.
And so, but it has to be in a limited time. If you do 1,000 likes over 2 weeks, it doesn't help you. It needs to be done like in a limited time, a half hour or so, where you get your whole church or a group of people with their like, share, and then Facebook and other social media logarithms will say popular post, let's make sure we get it out. So there is a way to game the logarithm, at least at this point.
Now, if your head is spinning because of all of these words like logarithm, we did an episode sometime back with Beth Hammock of Hammock Communications that works with marketing, and she talks a bit more. So you can find that.
And you can go just do a search for social media.
Okay. And you should find that episode with Beth. And Beth specializes in working with churches to help you work with your social media. In fact, some of her clients, that's all she does is help them with social media. Right. Okay, so what do we communicate?
Okay, here's the deal. We need to wind this up. Just real quick, a couple things. What is it you're trying to get out there? Number one, you need to let your people know, use social media to let people know about events. Now, I'm not talking about your board meeting. You may want to do that, but make sure you direct message all your board people or whatever. But an event that's coming up, your ice cream social, your worship, your sermon series, that's of course what you want to get communicated out there. Go ahead.
So you want to communicate who you are. What do you look like? People, if they've stopped to look at it, they're asking, am I going to fit in there? How am I going to fit in? So you want to make sure that you're in some way projecting who you are and speaking to that as well. Again, I've said this in other episodes, one of my favorite ways of placing prayer into a congregation and to get that message out is doing a prayer concert, if you will, over the course of a week or 2 weeks. And this one minister went on top of his church and was surveying out there into the community. And he said, those of you who know me know I am afraid of heights, terribly afraid of heights. But I'm up here because praying is important to who we are as a church. And I was going to pray. I'm praying for our city today. Now that was, for his members. But oh my goodness, the people that were out there and the people in his community that saw that, and because his members, they shared it and the like. It was amazing, the result of that. They're a congregation that prays.
Right. Okay. So who you are, what you look like, and again, your post should reflect that. Your post should also reflect the character of your church.
Yeah.
Are you a serious church? There's nothing wrong with that. But are you serious and reserved? Great. Make sure that it shows in your posts.
Right.
Are you funny, relaxed, kick back, just have a good time? Now, if that's who you want to be and not who you are, don't start posting that you are until you figure it out, okay?
Yeah.
But if you're a funny, relaxed, kickback congregation, or you have a funny, relaxed, kickback worship service, then make sure that character comes through and so on. And the final thing you want to communicate, of course, is meaningful and inspiring content. Devotions and that kind of thing. Now, here's the key. You don't want to do just meaningful, inspiring content. If that's all you're doing is devotionals, your audience is not going to expand very fast. You need to have a repertoire and a variety of, if you can, some humor, some that are, that shows who you are, has comments, shows your character, and meaningful, inspiring, and you work your way through on a regular basis. By the way, frequency of posting is key. Make sure you're posting at least several times a week, or more. In fact, a couple times a day is better.
Okay, so you're probably asking, where on earth am I going to get all this time to get up there twice a day? Because we've really honed in on Facebook. We haven't done much touching on Instagram or Snapchat or YouTube or doing all of them, and that is going to have to be another episode. But have we got a tool for you?
All right, you can get the Get More Time Planner, and you can Get More Time Today. You can go up and get that. You also at our website, effectivechurch.com. So there's the Effective Church side of it, and the pop-up will come and invite you to get the Get More Time Planner. It will help you free up a minimum of 10 hours a week so that you can do the things that are important. Hey, we are out of time.
We are so out of time. Gotta go.
We'll see you next week.
Have a great week. Bye-bye.